English editing, and today we are going to start the second fiction. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together. By Gordon, Cook and Ellen Estes. Yes, this is a story of an adventurous voyage undertaken by the narrator with his family. With his ask sir, who are the main characters of the story? The first important protagonist of the story is the narrator himself. Who is the first protagonist? The narrator himself. Ask sir, who is the narrator? A 30-year-old businessman who wants to duplicate the round the world journey made by James Cook 200 years ago. What does he want to do? Tell me. The narrator wants to duplicate the journey around the world undertaken by James Cook 200 years ago. 200 साल पहले जेम्स कुक ने जो सी जर्नी जो वॉयस पूरे वर्ल्ड का किया था उसको डुप्लीकेट करने के लिए उसका एकदम बिल्कुल हूबहू वैसा ही करने के लिए नरेटर ने डिसाइड किया. इज इट ऑलराइट? आप बताइए. सेकंड कैरेक्टर यू आस्क हु इज द सेकंड कैरेक्टर? मैरी हिज वाइफ. मैरी the narrator's wife also joins the journey, the sea voyage along with her husband. Now Mary is a lady who is very supportive. Ask why sir? She wants to support the dream of her husband and particularly makes herself skilled in sea journey. She has decided to support her husband's dream come true and improve her sea skills. Ask sir, what is the meaning of sea skills? The training that a person takes to sustain the journey across the sea. There are different challenges, waves, wind, wreckage of sea, many other adventurous things happen during the voyage. So it is a special training that is given to the crew members to sustain the challenges across the sea, particularly the cyclonic wave, the sea wave, the wind, and the wreckage of the sea, the sea wreckage. Then you ask, sir, other than his wife, who are the other member? Ask Larry Wiesel. Ask who is Larry Wiesel? An American crew member. And Larry Wiesel is an American crew member who joins the voyage as a crew member at Cape Town. After traveling some time, he joins. Larry Wiesel is an American crew member who joins the crew at Cape Town. Which place? Cape Town. Just to help the narrator and his family sustain the challenges because they have been trained particularly to face the wave and cyclonic conditions, the harsh condition across the sea. Because it is not easy to travel during the sea journey. It is very difficult. The challenges are very much impending. There is always a danger of getting tossed into the sea and being, submerged into the sea several times. So these, guys like Larry Wiesel, an American, and another one is Hornbill. He is a Swiss person. Both of them have been trained particularly to sustain the challenges of the sea journey. Who have been trained particularly to sustain the challenges of the sea journey? One is Larry Wiesel. Another one is Hornbill. One is Swiss. Another one is American. Who is an American? Tell me. Larry Wiesel. They have been particularly trained to sustain the challenges of the sea journey. Now you ask, sir, who are the other members? The girl, the daughter of the narrator, 7-year-old girl, Suzanne. What is her name? Suzanne is a very brave girl who supports and always, shows immense courage. She is very much courageous. Suzanne, a 7-year-old girl, the daughter of the narrator, who is very courageous, and always motivates her father to struggle out and sustain the journey, and she always has immense courage. Then you ask her who is other? Jonathan, a 6-year-old son, of the narrator, Jonathan. So let us count how many members are there. The narrator himself, his wife Mary, his 7-year-old daughter, Suzanne, his 6-year-old son, Jonathan, and 2 crew members, one American, Larry Wiesel, another Swiss, settler. So these, members altogether make up the crew. Crew means the people on the boat, people on the sea, people on the sea. Now you ask, sir, what kind of ship they have chosen? Ask. The ship that they have chosen, the boat, they have prepared particularly against this harsh condition of sea wreckage. The name of this, boat is Water Walker. What is the name of this boat? Tell me. Water Walker. And it is particularly made to sustain. Water Walker is the boat which has been prepared after several years of training. They have tested, selected a professionally made boat, selected. Water Walker is a professionally made boat which has been tested for several months against the roughest weather, because they have to go for several days, several months. So an ordinary boat, wave walker. It is the name of the wave walker. Yes, perhaps it is wave walker. Book में देख लीजिए. Against the harsh conditions, it has been professionally built. So like wave walker is a professionally built boat which has been tested against the roughest weather. And then you ask, the initial period went on very happily. When they started the journey, tell me, how was their first period? When they began the journey, the initial period was very pleasant. पहला 1-2 महीना बहुत अच्छा गया. They didn't have any problems. 1 or 2 months they didn't face any challenges. But then what happened? That when the weather condition became harsh and there was strong wind and rough, we joined the crew at Cape Town. याद रखिएगा. These 2 crew members joined the boat at which place? Tell me. At Cape Town. Very good. And they wanted to help the narrator against the southern Indian Ocean. Actually, they were particularly trained to tackle. They were particularly trained to tackle the harsh weather conditions, the roughest weather conditions across the southern Indian Ocean. Where? Tell me. Across the southern Indian Ocean. Now, the weather began to deteriorate. As soon as they started the journey, after a month of their sea voyage, the weather condition became very rough. It started deteriorating. Say like that. After a month of their sea voyage, the weather condition started deteriorating. Yeah, there was a deterioration in the weather condition, and the waves became huge. Waves became violent. Huge waves upsurged against sailing of the boat. The narrator faced the challenges of huge waves, and a strong wind. On January 2, a tremendous wave wrecked the sea. On January 2, a tremendous wave wrecked, तोड़ दिया जहाज को, थोड़ा सा डैमेज कर दिया, wrecked the boat. Ask sir, what happened there? There was a hole inside the sea, and water started coming out inside the boat, and the huge wind started blocking the path of the boat. Impending danger surrounded them, and not only the narrator was tossed out into the sea, एकदम जैसे बॉल फेंका जाता है ना, he was tossed out in the middle of the sea. But fortunately, after some time, he was tossed back into the sea, into the boat, first he was tossed into the middle of the sea. They were in the middle of the sea, and then after some time, the wave turned again in opposite direction and tossed him back into the boat. It was just fortune that he was inside the boat, but he got injured. He was severely injured. What happened to the narrator? Tell me. He got severely injured. Later in the evening, he was tossed back into the boat, and he was badly injured. He had a head injury also, but he never gave up. Larry and Herb started pumping water which had accumulated inside the boat. Larry Wiesel and Herb Sagler started, what did they do? They started, pumping out water out of the whole day and night. they continued pumping out water from where? Tell me. From the boat. And you know, the narrator made some repair work also. Some damage was there, some hole had been created in the boat. So the holes were repaired finally, and the family managed to survive for how many hours? 15 hours. My goodness. 15 hours of struggle. Still there. The family managed to survive. Still there.
The family managed to survive
For 15 hours.
for 15 hours.
My goodness, it was just, you can imagine. Then he made certain calculations. The narrator made certain and it was after several days they will reach some small islands. And then he found that the situation once again became worse. And they were about to be completely submerged into the sea. अब डूबने ही वाले सारे family. Almost the girl Susan also got injured. The son also got injured. All the family members were in completely broken state. किसी का सर फट गया, किसी का कुछ हो गया. They were completely tortured and they were about to be submerged. उसी समय क्या हुआ? Jonathan clearly said, "Papa, never give up. We are ready. We are with you. We are ready to die." Because a particular day they reached the island. They saw the island. The name of the island was Amsterdam. What was the name of the island?
Amsterdam.
They reached the island Amsterdam, and that was their successful, voyage. After a long period of struggle, they finally reached the island Amsterdam. Where did they reach? Amsterdam. That was how the man, the narrator, duplicated the voice of James Cook. After a lot of struggle, and it was the courage and perseverance. Say like it was the courage and perseverance of the family members, particularly his wife Mary, his son Jonathan, and his daughter Suzanne, that really gave courage to the narrator to fight against the odd conditions, against the difficulties and challenges, and overcome all the difficulties, eventually making a landmark by creating a history in the history of sea voyage around the world. And he eventually reached the island that was known as Amsterdam. What was the name of the island?
Amsterdam.
What a great voyage it was. What a historic voyage it was. The narrator succeeded in making a landmark in the history of sea voyage undertaken by James Cook 200 years ago. And he duplicated this journey by making a landmark. And we should never give up. We should never be afraid of death, because death has to come. But only one thing we have to remember, that we should never give up our mission of reaching the target, whatever may be the condition. The conditions may be odd. We should never say no. We should struggle against the difficulty, because the best way to overcome the challenges is to face it, and never look back. Had they really given up, they would never have become historic in making a landmark. But they never gave up. The narrator was having so much patience about that. He never gave up. Despite all the difficulties, he sustained the journey, and he continued, sailing, and eventually reached Amsterdam. Thank you very much. I'm sure I have briefed the story. Next day we'll read